Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Tuesday. The markets were down. Bitcoin was down. So we'll take a look at obviously all that, see what's going on there along with Ethereum. We'll also take a look at the miners, see how they did today in the markets. Most of them were down today, so we'll take a look at that. Then we'll take a look at two stories. We got Mawson providing their August update, finally. And we got Sphere 3D providing some updates on their customs. And they're finally getting some of the miners. So we'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at the miners that we did the video on yesterday. We've obviously added Mawson into it, so we'll see how that affected things. And I had a mistake in there, so we'll take a look at that as well, and I'll go over all that. So as always, no financial advice. You guys know the drill here. I'm invested in the following coins and companies, full disclosure. If you enjoy these types of videos, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously, and gets the video out to more people. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on here on the markets. And sorry, there we go. All right, so the markets were down. S&P was down 1.13%, Dow Jones was down 1.01%, and NASDAQ was down 0.95%. Now let's take a look at a couple of things here. So Bitcoin is obviously down to 18,895 right now. I said yesterday things did not look good for us, at least in the short term, and unfortunately I was right. We have slid obviously further down. I'm still not seeing anything good here on the chart. RSI has been pretty much flat here the whole time, but the price has been continuing to go down here, at least on the 1 hour chart. On the daily chart, if we look at it also here, you can see here that prior to here, we're at the 39 mark on the RSI. We're way down. If we just go back to even over here, we can see that we're much higher in the price. So we have price decline. We also have RSI being basically flat at that period. And if we look at the peaks here, also on the bottom here, we're at 30 roughly here. Price was around 18,784. Prior to that, it was 29 here. Price was right around 19,527. So obviously, we're still having a decline there. On the RSI, we're flat. We're seeing the same thing obviously happening right now. So my conclusion to this is we're going down further. Obviously, our next support is going to be at possibly, this is a possibility here, right around the 17,600 mark. But looking where we are right now, I mean, look at the RSI, how far it was down here at that point. We were down at 20. The RSI right now is at 38. And the price at that point was actually right around there. I think this might be kind of our support here a little bit because we're kind of bouncing off of that right now at least. But you can see here that RSI was way down lower where the price ended up at than we are right now, and the RSI is higher. So that doesn't bode well also. So I think we're possibly heading down lower from here. All right, so next is Ethereum on the table here. Ethereum is at 1,329. It has been falling down also. Looking at the RSI here, we can see that RSI is about the same as last time in August 27th. That was right around here. We were a little bit higher in price, around 1,423. We are now at 1329, so it still doesn't look good for our Ethereum either. I think we're going down, unfortunately. I hate to say it. All right, let's take a look at the miners here really quick. ANY was down 4.3% to 55 cents. Argo was down 0.47% to 42 cents. Bit Digital was down 5.97% to $1.26. Bitfarms was down 7.26% to $1.15. I did buy some Bitfarm stock today. I bought another 275 shares, and I did buy CleanSpark's 200 shares as well today. They were down 4.8% today to $3.37. Cores was down 8.43% to $1.52. DigiHost was down 4.39% to 81 cents. DMG was basically flat on the day. Greenidge was flat on the day. It looks like $2.16. Hive was down 3.28% to $4.13. Hut 8 was down 4.69% to $1.83. Iris Energy was down 6.24% to $4.06. Luxfolio was up actually 8.25% to 7 cents. Marathon was down 5.61% to $10.26. Mawson was down 5.58% to 57 cents. Riot was down 4.6% to $6.22. So Mawson was actually up 5.58%. Solana was down 11.67% to $1.59. And they're reaching, I think, their 52-week lows here. I think who was it? CleanSpark. CleanSpark also was messing with their 52-week lows as well. Stronghold was down 9.3% to $1.17. So, and they're hitting their 52-week lows as well right now, I believe. So that's it for the miners. Other things we got going on, obviously, Bitcoin halving is in 546 days. We are reaching new all-time highs for the total hash rate and Bitcoin right now. We did average out at on the 17th at 234 million terahashes, so we're quite up there right now. That's on the 7-day average. If we look at the raw values, we can see here we peaked at 281 million terahashes, so pretty high up there when we're continuing to go up as well. Obviously, the miners are getting miners installed, so that obviously is driving that hash rate up as well. All right. So that is it for Bitcoin, miners, and the market. Let's take a look at the stories that we have here. We'll go through this really quick here. So Sphere 3D Corp secures the delivery of 2,946 S19J probes from the U.S. Customs, finally. So the final portion of the 4,026 unit batch released from U.S. Customs. So that's obviously good news. The addition of the miners will grow the Sphere 3D mining fleet to more than 5,000 miners, which is also good. They'll get into about 500 petahash. And the miners are expected to be installed and energized in Texas through October 2022. So obviously September is going to be another weak month for them. Probably going to have 100 petahash, if not maybe a little bit more, depending on when the miners got in. So we are at 100 petahash, I think, currently, and then we'll see what, if anything, gets installed in September when they report September numbers as well. So that's it for Sphere. So that's at least some good news there. They're supposed to have, I know they're working with Bitmain or their supplier on Bitmain miners to get them to 60,000 total ASIC miners. That would get them to about 6 exahash. So we'll see if we get any news on that. Now, Mawson also provided their August update here. So Mawson Infrastructure Group Inc. announced its August 2022 operational update. It was a little bit disappointing. They didn't get any additional miners installed here. But let's take a look at it here. So equivalent total Bitcoin mining was 170. This also includes the energy market program, which is basically 80 Bitcoins, I guess. 80 Bitcoins based on the average price of Bitcoin in August of 22,366. They self-mined 90 Bitcoins. Their self-mining install capacity is 1.7 exahash. That's kind of where I have them right now, so nothing got installed. And then energy market program revenue, approximately 1.8 million. So that's actually a good thing there. I don't know if they're getting revenue for it or if they're getting credits for it. And then hosting colocation installed capacity of 2 exahash. They actually have more hosting basically than they do their self-mining. And then total installed capacity between the two is 3.7 exahash. So that's pretty good there. Next is the sale of Georgia assets. So we've covered this before. They sold a portion of, they sold their Georgia assets to CleanSpark for $42.5 million. So as a result of the sale, the company will relocate Bitcoin miners from Georgia to Pennsylvania in the fourth quarter of 2022, enabling Mawson to take advantage of significantly lower energy prices and additional energy market program revenue opportunities. So that's actually good for them. This obviously also helped them with their balance sheet a little bit. So this relocation enables the company to focus on its largest scale and highest margin operations, while simultaneously reducing overall balance sheet leverage, putting the company in a strong position to navigate the current environment and the upcoming halving, which is anticipated in mid-2024. We're still basically 2 years out from that, roughly, a little bit less than that. And then Pennsylvania expansion update. So in addition to the reducing debt, Mawson intends to use part of the proceeds of the sale of the Georgia assets to continue the development and expansion of its Pennsylvania Bitcoin mining facilities. So that's obviously good news there. The company's Pennsylvania facilities have combined energy capacity of 220 megawatts, which can accommodate approximately 7.3 exahash Bitcoin mining operations. So there's at least a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for them. But yeah, it was unfortunate that they had to sell the facility in Georgia. But obviously, being a little bit in a debt crunch, they had to do something to obviously get their balance sheet in a little bit better position. So they did that. It's over with. And we'll see where they continue to go from here. Obviously, Mawson will look at where they ended up in the miners' metrics and the grades as far as if any of the information that they provided today helped them out at all. They were basically in the last spot along with Soluna. But we have to wait until Soluna actually provides their information to see where Soluna ends up at. All right, so this is all that we have here for them. Let's take a look at my spreadsheet on them. And let me see here, Mawson. Where is Mawson? There it is. Okay. So obviously they mined 90 BTC this month around. They mined the same amount last month as well. They did generate possibly a little bit more in August than they did in July, obviously, because the Bitcoin price did go up a little bit in August. So that was about 2 million that we have them here in generating revenue. They did report that they had basically power curtailment. So if we look at August here, we had them at running for approximately 12 days out of the month in order for us to get to the $2 million in revenue here. They did run approximately, let me see here. What do we have here? Why is this coming up as 1.8? It should not be 1.8. Something changed on me here. Let me see if we take that out. There we go. I think that's correct now, 1.9. I don't know why we put in the 1.8. 1.9, yeah. That was a mistake there. Okay, so that's fixed. So July, obviously, they were running about 12.3 days. In August, 12 days. So that's a lot of days that they weren't running, unfortunately. Obviously, they did save a little bit on the power bill. They got either credits back or they actually got made revenue on it. I'm guessing that it was probably just credits towards their energy bill, which in all is really good. So that's fine there. And what else can I show you guys here? They sell all their BTC every month, so they don't have a HODL position at all. Obviously, current market cap is about 43 million. They are at 54 cents. If they currently have a hash rate of 1.7 exahash, future hash rate is going to be about 3 for what we actually have listed here as far as what they're getting as far as miners. And then you can see here the stock has been coming down ever since, well, probably even before June, but it's been on a constant slide here. So, and we had pretty good volume here the prior week. This week is a little bit slower, so maybe they're finally bottoming out here a little bit, and they can possibly turn this around and go up a little bit. But then going down here, we have institutions. So for some reason, I didn't have the institutions updated for August. I must have missed it or something like that. So I do apologize for that. But we do have them now at 35 institutions, 6.9 million shares, 8.61% owned. We still have one buy rating on them, and the price target definitely changed quite a bit to $3 per share compared to where it was in July at $17. So, and then short interest, we're going to try keeping track of short interest for your monthly. It's at 279,000 shares roughly on them. And that would be it. And then looking at as far as where they could possibly be. Right now we're looking at the last 3 quarters and the current quarter of approximately 63 million for the total on that. If we're using the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at a stock price of $7.85. That's with a PE of 20. Analysts are saying at $3. So that's basically giving a 10 PE. Yeah, maybe even an 8 PE roughly. So if we're looking at 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $4.71 at that point. Based on where they are right now, they are 56% operational. Future hash rate growth is about 75%. And yeah, I mean, I could see them anywhere between, if Bitcoin starts going up, we could get up to as high of maybe a 15, even higher than that, depending on how high Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, well, the price to earnings ratio could be a lot higher than what we're currently calculating in. So they could be, even if we do 20, we're looking at $7.85 to $11.78, somewhere around that mid-range, depending on what their profit margins are like. And that is it for them. Okay, so that's Mawson in a nutshell. We still obviously have quite a few miners to get installed here. We have, let me see here, what do we got? It looks like we have about, possibly, we still have some over here that need to be installed. The 980 and these over here. So that's another right around 12,500 miners left or so to get installed, looking at the data that we have so far. And another 1,800, so maybe around 14,000 miners left to get installed. All right, so that's it for Mawson. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet here on the miners, basically grading on them. So once I got everything inputted into Mawson, I reran the numbers here for everything. And looking at the 7 metrics here. Oh, and the correction, I got to point out the correction that I made here. So here is where I had an oopsie. The current ratio and the debt equity ratio was coming in from my miner comparison worksheet. which are the numbers down here. I had the fields matched prior to the companies, but sometime in between now and the last possibly 2-3 weeks, I've done some market cap, or I changed the order of these and the numbers got all mixed up on here. So what I've done today is I've taken the numbers from here and just copied them over into this spreadsheet here for the metrics grades. So now they are basically static. They're not, they shouldn't, they're static. They're not tied to any certain cell. So if I change anything over here, it's not going to have an impact on these numbers here. So I do apologize for that. So we'll kind of go over this really quick. So Bit Digital obviously came in number 1 with the current ratio as the best. Sphere came in 2nd. Hut 8 came in 3rd. Riot 4th. Marathon 5th. DigiHost 6th. Hive 7th. DMG 8th. Argo 9th. Iris 10th. CleanSpark 11th. Bitfarms number 12. Core Scientific was number 13. Greenwich was number 14. Soluna was number 15. And Mawson was number 16. So this is the reason why they sold off the facility, because obviously their current ratio is pretty bad, really bad. And then same thing for the debt equity that got updated. So Sphere 3D came in first, followed by Bit Digital, then DMG, CleanSpark, Riot, Hut 8, DMG, Hive, Iris, Soluna, Bitfarms, Argo, Mawson, Marathon, Greenwich, and Core Scientific on the debt to equity ratio for that one. So now if we look at the numbers here, and I'll show you guys what we had in the video yesterday. Let me see here. Reported 7 metrics, minor grade includes current ratio and debt to equity ratio. Here is what we had yesterday. So if I scroll down here as well, we can compare them as well. There we go. Okay, so yesterday we had Iris as number 1. Today we got Iris still number 1, so that didn't change much. Bit Digital was number 2, so it's 2 for both of them. Riot came in 3rd on the old one, and Riot got actually bumped here on the new one to the 4th spot. Well, it's tied basically with Bitfarms, so they're both in the same spot. It looks like Bitfarms. Yep. Then you got CleanSpark here on the old one in 5th spot. They're still in the 5th spot. Then we have now Sphere 3D, and prior to that we had Hut 8. So Hut 8 got bumped, it looks like. And where did Hut 8 get bumped to? Hut 8 got bumped to, looks like the 7th spot or something, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 8th spot. So now we have Sphere 3D, Core, Hut 8, Argo, Hive, Marathon, DMG, Greenwich, DigiHost, Mawson, and Soluna, whereas before we had Hut 8, Core, Argo, Hive, Sphere 3D, Marathon, DigiHost, Greenwich, DMG. So a little bit of changes here on the 7-day metrics. And then if we scroll down to the 5 metrics that we use, so those don't include the debt to equity ratio and the current ratio. On the new one, don't want to make these confusing, but so the new one, updated one with the most recent numbers from Mawson, we got Iris, Bitfarms, Core Scientific, and we still have Iris, Bitfarms, Core Scientific here as well. Then we had Bit Digital. Now we have Bit Digital, CleanSpark, and Argo. So Bit Digital, CleanSpark, and Argo. So that stayed the same. The new one. Then we got Greenwich, Riot, and Hive now. And prior to that, we had Riot, Greenwich, and Hive. So it looks like Riot and Greenwich just switched a little bit here. Yep, those two switched a little bit. Hive. And then we have Marathon, Hut 8, and Sphere. So let's see here. We have Marathon, Hut, and Sphere 3D. And then we have DMG, Mawson, and DigiHost. DMG, DigiHost, and Mawson. So Mawson came in, and Mawson improved here on this list to 3rd worst now, and DigiHost moved up 1 spot to the 2nd worst. So that's all of the information there. Minor individual scores. Let's take a look at Mawson. We went through all these yesterday. I'm not going to go through it again. I'm just going to try to see if I can find Mawson. There it is. Mawson, obviously 11th spot on month-over-month percentage hash rate. Year-to-date hash rate number 8, so about average. Year-to-date hash rate growth, 10th spot. BTC per petahash, pretty bad, 15th spot. Current ratio, 16th spot, obviously the worst there. Debt to equity ratio number 13th spot. And growth left, the 12th spot. So this is why they are towards the end of the minor list here. In the 5 metrics and on the 7 metrics. So the winners for obviously August are Iris, Bit Digital, and Bitfarms here with the 7, and that is pretty much the same. We got Iris, Bitfarms, and Core, and here we got Bit Digital. Bit Digital actually got bumped. Where did they get bumped to? Bit Digital, here they are in the 4th spot on the 5 metrics. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. The updated spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. And that's all I got for you guys. We'll see. Tomorrow. Tomorrow we got the FOMC meeting. I almost forgot. That is going to be interesting. We'll see if we can stick with the 75 basis points. If we do, I think we'll be okay. Markets, I think, pretty much priced it in right now, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. And then we also have, I think, the housing numbers coming out tomorrow as well. Some part of that is coming out tomorrow. So we'll report on that, and then we'll see, obviously, if Soluna decides sometime this month to provide their August update. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Have a great evening. I'll see you guys in the next one.